we have to pass this law so that we can deliver at the very least 5,000 to 8,000 pesos to each and every family in the Philippines. It
has been a great honor today to participate in the passage of this historical law that would enable the Republic of the Philippines, through its leadership led by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, to meet the exigencies and the urgencies of the COVID-19, a scourge that is ripping through our country as well as many other nations. Today, we have taken measures, and through the inspiration of our speaker, our leadership has adopted innovation, utilizing technology, and we thank and we appreciate the support and the patience all have had with this Congress for today's proceedings to meet the exigencies and the urgencies of the COVID scourge has reached that of transcendental importance, for we have actually dispensed with most of the formalities that the rules have canalized our proceedings previous to today. Because of this, Mr. Speaker, we respectfully and humbly move to create the Defeat COVID-19 Ad Hoc Committee with the following jurisdiction. Defeat COVID-19 Ad Hoc Committee, all matters directly and principally relating to the appropriate government response on the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic and how to curb its effect on the economy and the general public, especially the labor force. Mr. Speaker, before you rule on the matter, we ask that you share your most important message to the body.
Thank you, Majority Leader. There's a verse in the Bible that says, "We die because of lack of knowledge." And although the context there is that if you don't know God, how can you have eternal life? We can apply it to our everyday life. For example, a student, hindi niya alam na may scholarship program, valedictorian, hindi na nag-aral, pwedeng mamatay yung pangarap. Or a person who did not know that there is free hospitalization or PhilHealth and lumala yung sakit, hindi pumunta ng ospital, they can lose their life at pwedeng mamatay. No? And I think more than ever now, if the government doesn't do anything, people will die. If we do not study the medical science, if we do not listen to the doctors and the scientists, people will die. If we listen to the bashers, critics, mga pilosopo, who wants us to define what's the difference between emergency powers, standby powers, special powers, special authority. I mean, wag na tayo mamilosopo eh. May emergency, kailangan ng powers ng presidente. Eh kung pipilosopohin niyo ako, pilosopo din ako. Kailangan ng standby powers kasi maraming standby sa kalye. Kailangan nila bumalik sa mga bahay nila. So bigyan ng power ang ating Pangulo. So it's been a long day, but it's been worth it. But we're going to face many, many long days in the coming weeks. Unless we find a way to work together as a nation, to set aside politics, to take out this toxic environment that we had before COVID-19. Yes, before COVID-19, there was a very toxic environment, pro and anti-Duterte, despite the 80-85% approval rating. And we respect that. Am I saying that no one should criticize? No. The President already said, pagka meron abuse, pag may corruption, may kailangan expose, ituloy natin yan. Kasi kailangan makinig ang gobyerno, kailangan responsive. But fake news? Imagine a senator of the Republic saying, we need medicine, we need to help the frontliners, we need provisions of food, but we don't need the special powers or emergency powers. Eh, saan mo kukunin ang pera? Yung more than 275 billion na gagamitin. When we made this budget and we did it in record time, no one knew that there will be a COVID-19. Yes, there have been people like Bill Gates who've been warning us for the last years that a pandemic is coming. But like the rest of the world, who was prepared for this? But the president acted, and more people will die unless we all understand why. Why pray? Because nasa kamay ng Diyos ang ating buhay. Why stay home? Because staying home will save lives. Mapre-prevent ang hawaan. Pag may simptomas, mas madaling mag-isolate. Pagka yung simptomas ay grabe, dalhin na sa ospital, the hospital can test and the hospital can isolate, although puno na. So all of this is giving us time to help na hindi mag-collapse ang ating healthcare system. But the problem is, kung nagko-collapse ang finances ng ating kababayan, they cannot stay home. So, we have to pass this law so that we can deliver at the very least 5,000 to 8,000 pesos to each and every family in the Philippines, the 18 million that need it most. Is this enough? It's never enough. I mean, who can live on 5,000 or 8,000? But survival po ang pinag-uusapan natin dito. So, kanina po, Tony Pet Albano asked ES, myself, and many of you to hold the banner. And I asked him, why did you ask us to do that? Maluluha-luha siya, sinabi niya, he has a very close friend who died because of COVID-19. And he told me, you know, hindi po madali sa mga waiters na pumasok ngayon kasi no work, no pay yung iba sa kanila. Yung chef, yung cook, yung ibang nagbabantay, yung ibang naglilinis dito. On the other hand, we've already lost part of our members sa family dito po, I think 2, because of COVID-19. Meron na pong kongresista na kino-confirm ang test pero meron pong COVID-19. Si Senator Mig Subiri, di ba? Nag-confirm. Are we saying that we are as brave? Are we saying that we are as noble? Are we saying that we are, you know, as worthy as the frontliners for praises? No, we never said that. We simply said, after Tony Pet said, can you hold this up so that people can read it and they can stay home? And the media is here and that's the ability. Sabi hindi, yung iba, they wanted publicity. We don't need publicity. We're on TV the whole day. This is the Congress of the Philippines. Anyone who speaks here, naka-live. We don't need that publicity. If we wanted the publicity, kinatay natin tong bill na to. And every single advocacy, spell out natin hanggang singkapal na ng phone book. Yung mga millennials, hindi na siguro inabot yung yellow pages. But yung ganyang kakapal na libro. Para lahat, sa OFW, para malin tayo, eto ilagay natin. Para sa health workers, eto ilagay natin. Sa barangay na health workers, nutrition workers na nagbabahay-bay, eto ilagay natin. Sa LGUs, ilagay natin. Sa doktor, ilagay natin. If the Senate did it semi that way, that's up to them. But tayo po, simple. The national government asked for flexibility. They told us the plan. The plan is community quarantine. The plan is to keep people in their homes. The plan is to set up and support the present health system and to grow it. The plan is to get supply in. And the plan is to give the money. Sabi nung iba, bakit wala dito? Sige nga po, ilagay natin yung pangalan ng 18 million na pamilya. Sige nga po, i-discuss natin ngayon. Kung yung isang pamilya na 8 sila, yung tatay nakatira sa Taguig, yung buong pamilya nasa Tacloban. How do we get 4,000 sa taga-Tacloban at 1,000? How do we give the money? These are all things that are part of the work of the executive and the task force. They're dealing with a million things. You talk to any mayor or barangay captain today, they're thinking of a million things. Sa television, 95% ng isang lugar naka-quarantine, hahanapin yung 1% or 2% o 5% na nakakalat ang tao. It's still good kasi natututo sila na wag magdikit-dikit at mag-social distance. But parang yung news na lang parati ganun eh. So are we in a national emergency or not? We have to decide for ourselves. This is not normal times. Hindi to ordinaryong baha, hindi to isang lugar na nasunugan. We were shocked and we are still grieving for Yolanda. We were shocked at the destruction in Marawi and we're still grieving. And we're still finding ways how to build Marawi. But this is much, much more than that. As I mentioned when we opened this morning, 30% gets infected at a 2% mortality, 700,000 Filipinos will die. So kung tingin nyo nagbibiro kami dito, or if you think that we care about politics at this point in time, you're very, very much mistaken. We only care about how our people can survive this period. Ang nakakatawa pa kasi yung mga nagsasabing namumulitika, kayo namumulitika eh. Simpleng-simple ang hiningi ng administrasyon. Give us a bill that will help us find money off budget sa GOCCs. Give us a bill that will allow the President to divert or to revert or to realign money to programs that can go straight to the people like the conditional cash transfer. Give us a bill that will penalize people if they don't follow the regulation. Pag sinabing sarado ang restaurant, huwag kang magbubukas. Pag sinabing sarado ang hotel, huwag kang magbubukas. But of course, we have to have empathy. Ang mayaman may aircon. Ang mayaman maraming kwarto. Eh kung 8 kayo, 10, 12 nagsisiksikan sa isang bahay, may dali bang sabihin doon kayo sa loob ng bahay? Kung napakainit at parang oven yung bahay na yon, di ba? That's why we have to get the local government units and the frontliners whatever they need. There's a lot of fake news. Alam nyo po yung mga nagkakalat ng fake news na nagsasabing kulang ng PPEs or personal protective equipment sa isang lugar. Kawawa po kapag ka-fake news yung binigay nyo, kawawa yung totoong kulang. Hindi na tuloy malaman ng iba kung saan magbibigay. So I think this is about time that not only do we all take this threat seriously, but that Congress also seriously focuses only on this. That's why I'm happy no one of you here asked me to take up the ABS-CBN franchise. As they've been asking before we adjourn, and we've been pleading with you to focus on the coming threat of COVID-19. Hindi po kami nagkulang doon. Could we have done more? Yes, we could have done more. But rather than talk about that and cry over spilled milk, and we will take the blame kung may pagkukulang, why don't we plan how we can work closer with each other and how we can help? And that's the plan. Today, in passing the law, meron oversight committee. Pero ang uupo lang sa oversight committee, 4 sa Senado, 4 po sa Senado, 4 sa Kongreso. These oversight committees will sit down with the task force and will be discussing many issues. Health, provisions, economic relief, curfews, quarantine, peace and order, how our economy is doing, fiscal position, everything, no? And we don't want na makasagabal tayo sa kanila. Hindi naman pwedeng araw-araw hearing. Paano nila gagawin yung trabaho nila? And that's why we're putting together today the Defeat COVID-19 Committee. So this committee will have subcommittees on those issues, on health, and you can have further subcommittees on that. On, for example, one small group, 3-4 congressmen, looking into the needs of every single hospital, looking, is there incident managers? Are the incidents being reported? Is someone looking at the supply and demand in a bigger picture, in the whole region, in the whole country? You see what's happening in Italy, you see what's happening in South Korea, you see what's good and bad, whether it's in Singapore, whether it's in the US, no? So these subcommittees will report to the main committee, and the main committee will report and will coordinate, will advise, and will collaborate with the oversight committee. And we've shown today, mahigit 300 tayo. Pero tapos na tayo actually at 2 o'clock eh. Hinihintay lang natin ang Senado. We've shown that we can trust our president and we can trust the government. Unang-una, do we have a choice? Yung iba kasi sabi, kailangan ng leadership ngayon. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Palitan ng presidente. Gusto nila, kandidato nila. Hindi time mamulitika. Hindi time para i-weaponize itong COVID-19. We have a leader. Ako, it's my choice to trust him. I think many of you here. It's also our job for check and balance. It's also our job. That's why nilagay po natin sa bill natin. Pwedeng i-override. That is the first time in history, if I'm not mistaken, na may oversight committee pero pwedeng i-override, no? Ang regulasyon na ginawa ng executive department. I don't think any other president allowed that provision or threatened or actually vetoed it kung meron. Diba? Pero tayo po, we're getting closer to the powers of the US Congress under the 1987 Constitution. So the checks and balances are there. But what the executive is asking for, nasaan ang flexibility? Nasaan yung batas that will allow us to meet what President Trump called the invisible enemy? It's a war. Did anyone here predict the war? You're saying government is not prepared? Well, where was your plan for us to be prepared? No one was prepared because no one expected the magnitude, except for a few future thinkers like Bill Gates and scientists who dealt with other outbreaks like Ebola, who were telling us that one day other viruses are going to creep out of the forest, wherever part of the world, and is going to be a major pandemic. So wala po tayong choice, my dear colleagues, but to work. Many of you will be working in your districts with very hard conditions. Yung usual yung ginagawa pagka bagyo o baha, na may leaders kayo, whether you use the chain of command of the local government, from the mayors to the barangay captains, to the kagawads, to the tanods and everything, or whether you have your own zone leaders, enumerators, NGOs, many of you cannot use that network now. Why? Naka-quarantine eh. Di pwede maglabas-pasok. No? My wife and I are both members of Congress. My brother is mayor. But we have to coordinate closely. Because the more people that goes into the barangay, the more chances na magkaroon ng contamination. So it's a very difficult situation. But you know, in ordinary politics, you make a mistake, you lose your job. Your party goes out of power. A new person is chosen. Iba sitwasyon ngayon eh. We make a mistake, people die. And I think this 18th Congress, House of the People, is not willing to do that. So Majority Leader, with all my heart, you know, I'd like to accept any member who at this dangerous time volunteers to work for the Defeat COVID Committee. It is in nowhere as dangerous as being a nurse, as being a radiologist, as being a medical technician, as being a doctor, or even being an ambulance driver. Can you imagine the feeling now, pagka ambulance driver ka at sinabing, meron positive doon, sunduin natin. The feeling of the driver, yun po ang frontliners. Walang doubt po sa atin lahat yun. That's never been a doubt. We've never compared ourselves with that people. No? But my brother, the mayor, people don't know. May nag-back out sa pagsusundo nung unang nagkaroon ng COVID sa amin. He had to ask his wife, ako ang susundo. I'll put on the protective equipment. And like other mayors, they got bashed. Nasaan kayo? Hindi mo mahahanap all the time kasi may meetings, may pinag-uusapan, di ba? Because it's not a time of politics. So this committee will be a working committee. We'll do a lot of work from home, we'll do it through digital, but there'll be a lot of meetings. And it will not always be safe to meet. Why? Because every week that this goes on and the cases get higher is another blessed week na we did not get infected. But it's another week that is more dangerous because more people are infected. The last time we were here, what was March 10, when we adjourned. And there was no confirmed cases in Congress. By the time we got back, dalawa na po ang wala na sa mundong ito. At meron na po tayong suspected na infected or nag-positive na kino-confirm at may mga iba tayong mga binabantayan, lalo po sa staff. That's why tayo pong mga kongresista, there's no doubt. Whatever happens, trabaho natin pumunta dito. Nasusunog tong building na to, pero kailangan ng sesyon, nandito tayo. That's why nga ginawa natin yung ganitong arrangement, di ba? But what about the staff to my right? The staff to my left? The staff that is in the lounge? The guards that are outside? You know, what's 8,000, 15,000 pesos to them now? When they can lose their life by getting infected. So we're doing this because we have to do it because with lack of knowledge, people die. So, Tony Pet, if you ask me to hold up a sign again, and even if the sign curses at me, but it gets people to read and it gets people to say stay home, I will do it again and again and again. Do not feel bad, you meant well, it's not your fault. I apologize to Executive Secretary Miguel Dia. I know he has an underlying health problem. He had something with his heart fixed. I told him last night he does not have to come personally. But he came personally. He came to a crowded office this morning and I had to separate people. Nahiya din po ako kay Secretary Anyo. Secretary Anyo is a war hero. He was there in Marawi while other peoples were criticizing or watching from their living room. Secretary Anyo is facing many people. Marami na nga secretary ang nag-quarantine. May mga nag-positive na sa gobyerno, lalo sa DOH. Nakasalamuha to ni Secretary Anyo. They don't deserve it. No? So don't feel bad, Tony Pet, because we meant well. Now, if people will criticize us for meaning well, as long as alam natin tama ang ating ginagawa. So I ask this body if anyone objects. Because if I don't hear any objection, we will form an ad hoc committee called the Defeat COVID-19 Committee. And together with the Filipino people, we will defeat COVID-19. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Mr. Speaker, I move to elect Speaker Alan Peter Compañero S. Cayetano as the chairperson of the Defeat COVID-19 Ad Hoc Committee.
Majority Leader, I will accept only if the Majority Leader will be the co-chair of the said committee.
I accept, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Majority Leader, may I suggest that all members who want to participate will be members of the committee and that together we will formulate the subcommittees so that everyone can work. I thank you very much. I see hands being raised. I know it is something we have to do, but I think it's something that we can do well. So thank you very much sa lahat po nagtaas ng kamay. Minority Leader Abante, will you be a member of the committee? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, I think this is not an issue for majority, independent, minority. I think we will not agree on everything, but we will all come together and we'll also, from the Makabayan Bloc, thank you very much also for participating today and for wanting to come together as Congress, as members of Congress to do all of this. So while waiting for the Senate,
Move to suspend.
we will suspend.